again because of my computer.
Yeah, you are
That's
live now. Okay, thank you.
great. Thank you for letting me know. All right, so let's get started with today. So here we're going to be talking about all the different verbs you need to know if you are cooking in the kitchen. So most of these will be unfamiliar because they're not verbs you will learn unless you are a chef and you work someplace where they speak English. So the example is about how to make something called cheesy tofu vegetable casserole. This is not something I would ever cook because I don't like to eat tofu, but maybe I would make a cheesy vegetable casserole. So what does that mean, a casserole? Does anyone know that term? Have you heard that word before?
I think that is the same word we can use even in Italy, like in different way. Casserola is like a mix with the vegetable. You can add even cheese, tomato, but anyway, the main ingredients are vegetable.
That's right. So I think it comes, and we must use the Italian word for it because it means a dish that is made of vegetables and sometimes meat, and often people will put cheese on top and they'll melt the cheese on top of the vegetables. So it's sort of a mixture of lots of different items. And casseroles are very popular to eat in the United States. So that's a good vocabulary term for you to learn. And can I get a volunteer to read the first verb under the picture of the oven?
Preheat the oven.
Okay, preheat the oven. Now that should be clear. You have to make the oven hot by heating it up, and you do that before you add the food, so you preheat it. Before and pre mean the same thing, and you heat it up before you put any food in there. Preheat the oven. Adela, can you use that in a sentence, please?
For cook the pizza, I needed to preheat 250 degrees the oven.
Very good. Okay, so to cook the pizza, I needed to preheat the oven to 250 degrees. Very good. That's a great example. I could go for some pizza right now. And the next sample, can I get another volunteer? Maybe Ahmad, you could read that one?
Okay. Grease a baking pan.
So what is grease? It has two meanings. One is a noun. As a noun, it means like oil, okay? Oil that you could use in cooking or oil you could use in your car. They can both be referred to as grease. So when something has a lot of oil, you can use it as an adjective to say greasy. Like, I was cleaning my car and my hands became greasy. But in this case, we're talking about cooking. And so when we grease a baking pan, we spray it down with oil so that the food doesn't stick. Okay? Yes, when something is dirty of grease, it's greasy. You can say that. You can even say that about someone's hair. If they haven't washed their hair with shampoo, then their hair is greasy because it has lots of oil in it. So in this example, they are greasing a baking pan with oils, probably vegetable oil, so that the casserole won't stick to the pan and it won't be a mess to clean up. So can I get someone, maybe Ahmad, you could think of a sentence to use the verb to grease a pan or grease something?
Okay. To cook a pancake, I have to grease the, I don't know, is it pan? What is it called?
Well,
Yeah.
there's a few things. A pan that you, like a small flat pan, is called a skillet. So why don't you try that again and try to use the word skillet?
Okay. To cook a pancake, I need to grease the skillet.
Perfect. To cook a pancake, I need to grease the skillet. Okay. How about letter C? Can I get a volunteer to read letter C?
Okay, Amaury. Slice the tofu.
Slice the tofu. Okay. For those of you who are native Spanish or like Portuguese speakers, I want you to try and pronounce the S of slice without adding the letter E ahead of it. Okay, so it's not a slice the tofu, it's just slice the tofu.
Slice.
Good. Yes, very good. Okay, anyone else want to try that? Slice the tofu?
Slice.
Good.
Slice.
That was great, Adela. So for Spanish and Portuguese speakers, it can be challenging to start a word with the letter S because all of your words will start with ES, for example, España. But it's good practice to not say slice, just slice. Okay, and we can practice that more later. So slice the tofu. And what are they using to slice the tofu, Amaury?
Sorry, can you repeat?
What are they using to slice the tofu?
For example, I ate a slice of cake.
Okay, that's slice as a noun. I ate a slice of cake, the same as a piece of cake. But can you try to use it as a verb, since we're practicing verbs today?
Slice. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
I don't know, teacher. Slice.
I can give you a hint. You use a knife to slice something. So the knife in the picture, the action that it does is to slice.
I will cut a slice of cake pan.
Okay, that's slice as a noun again, but you could say slice a piece of cake for me, and that would be using it as a verb. Could you slice me a piece of cake?
Okay.
Okay, so can we get another volunteer to try and use slice as a verb?
Teacher.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
At the restaurant, I have a slice of pizza, or I want a slice of pizza. Sorry, slice.
Slice can be used as a noun, as in I want a slice of pizza, which is the same as a portion or a piece.
Yes.
But you can also use the verb to slice, which means the same as to cut.
But for ask for food, I will use have or I want. I have or I want.
I want a slice of pizza.
Okay.
Or if you wanted to be more polite, you could say I would like a slice of pizza.
Okay.
So you can always say, can I have a slice of pizza? Or I want a slice of pizza. But if you really want to be polite, you would say, I would like a slice of pizza. And then the person will assume they mean, can you give me a slice of pizza? And it's the more polite way to ask for something in a store or in a restaurant. You can say, excuse me, I would like a slice of pizza, and then they'll give it to you. It sounds a bit more polite than saying, give me a slice of pizza, or I want a slice of pizza. Good question, though. Okay, how about letter D? Elcio, would you like to read letter D?
Okay. Steam the broccoli.
Steam the broccoli. Okay, so if everyone knows what broccoli is, that's that green vegetable that children hate to eat, but I like to eat. And so what does it mean to steam the broccoli? Do you want to guess?
Pass on the vapor.
So another word for steam is vapor.
Yes.
You might be familiar with that term. So when you steam something, you put it in a basket above some water. When you heat up the water becomes steam, and it cooks the food with that vapor or steam. So again, just like our other verbs, this could be used as a noun. Steam as a noun means the same as vapor. And to steam is to cook something with vapor. Okay, let me type that in. Mauri says, can I use the example, a slice of my life in 2014 was pretty good? People do use the phrase slice of life, but it means just to have a small piece or picture of someone's life. So if you watched a movie about a man in India, that would be a slice of life movie where you learned a little bit about his life.
Okay.
But I'm glad that you brought that example up because it's common to use that example. Okay, so let's see. Elcio, can you give me an example of using the verb to steam?
Yes. I can to steam many vegetables.
Good.
In my barbecue.
Yes, don't forget that usually you would steam something on your stove, because there are other verbs that mean to barbecue something, and we might have a chance to talk about those. So you steam on the stove, or some people say on the stove top, meaning these burners where the fire is. But yeah, that's how many vegetables are cooked, by steaming them. Okay, let's see. Sandro, could you read letter E, please?
Yes. Saute the mushroom.
Okay, so this is actually from the French word sauté with an accent.
Sauté.
Like that in the chat, if you can see. So you pronounce the second syllable, sauté.
Sauté the mushrooms.
Good. Can everyone please repeat after me? Sauté the mushrooms.
Saute the mushrooms.
Good.
Sauté.
So if any of you are familiar with French cooking, to sauté.
Saute. Yeah.
Good. To sauté means to cook something in a small amount of oil on the stovetop. So they took a skillet and they put in a small amount of either oil or butter, and then they toss in some mushrooms or some onions. Sandro says it's saltare in Italian. Okay, very similar. It's probably something similar in Spanish.
The same word. I don't know.
Saltar.
Yes, very
Saltar?
similar in Spanish. Saltear.
Yes, saltear. So you often see this verb sauté, to sauté, when they are referring to onions. So you'll see on a recipe, it'll say sauté the onions in a pan. Sauté the onions. And that's where a lot of recipes begin. Okay, I'm going to mute you, Francisco. It's making too much noise. Okay. Let's see. Have you read one yet, Laszlo? Laszlo, you read letter F, please.
Sauce on top.
Okay, so one thing that might be a challenge is pronouncing the word sauce. It is one syllable.
Spoon the sauce on top.
Good. So to spoon means you can use a spoon to pour the sauce. You can use a spoon to pour the sauce. And spoon has another meaning that I'll teach you just because it's sort of cute. To spoon means to cuddle with someone.
To?
I just typed it in the chat, so to cuddle with someone. So when people say that they spooned, it means they were like 2 spoons in a drawer, cuddling. So it's sort of a sweet way to say that you were very close to someone. But as a verb in cooking, you can spoon the sauce on top or spoon the soup into a bowl using a spoon, obviously. Okay, Laszlo, can you try to use that verb to spoon in a sentence?
Yes, I can try. To spoon the tomato on the pizza.
Okay, so spoon the tomato on the pizza. And how about letter G? Francisco, are you up for it? Can you? Oh, that's good. Adela says, I spoon the honey over the ribs. That sounds delicious. I shouldn't have decided to talk about food when I was hungry.
Never.
Never, never. Okay, Francisco, can you please read letter G?
Grate the cheese.
Grate the cheese.
Grate the cheese, yes.
It's pronounced exactly the same as the word grate. And I'm sure you can guess what that means. When you grate the cheese, you pass it over this metal box that has holes in it, and it makes the cheese into much smaller pieces. And you can grate other things. You can grate carrots. You can grate nuts. You can use all kinds of things on the grater. So the noun is the grater. That's a cheese grater. Okay, so Francisco, could you please use that verb in a sentence?
I like grate carrot.
You like to grate carrots. Good, I do too. I usually like to make a carrot salad by grating the carrots into a bowl. Okay, and Adela says, I grate tomato for my breakfast. How do you grate a tomato? Doesn't it become very messy?
Is for the bread and oil and
Of
olive
course.
oil, salt, and tomato.
Yes. So if you've never, for any of my other students, if you've never been to Spain, they have a special dish that's made with tomato and oil and bread, and it's so delicious. I love that dish. Okay, and that's a good breakfast food.
Yeah.
And let's see. Oh, and you do that in Italy too. I'm not surprised.
Yes. It's with oil, tomato, and garlic.
Can't forget the garlic. Good. Okay, so how about we hear from Mahmoud? Can you read letter H?
Bake.
Okay, so bake is to cook something in the oven. You could bake a cake. You can bake a casserole. In this case, they're baking this cheesy tofu vegetable casserole. It says 350 degrees. I'm sure that is in Fahrenheit, so it's not that hot. So, Mahmoud, can you give us an example of the word bake in a sentence?
We are prepared meal and meal in the bake.
Okay, you could say we are going to bake our meal in the oven. So the verb is to.
Sorry.
So the verb is to bake, and you bake it in the oven. Okay, so Adela, you bake bread at home?
Yes, I have a home bread machine.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
You know what it's called when you make something at home? There's an adjective, and that's homemade. It's very easy to remember because you make it at home.
Yes. Homemade.
So you can say, I bake homemade bread.
Homemade.
Okay, that's it. I'm coming over. Okay, very good. So we covered those. Next, they have a recipe for easy chicken soup. Who wants to read letter I? Can I get a volunteer to read letter I?
Okay, I can try.
Sure.
Cut up the chicken.
Okay, and we also learned another verb earlier today that you could use in place of cut up the chicken. And do you remember what that was?
Cut into pieces.
You can say that. You could also say slice the chicken.
Okay.
So they mean the same thing. Cut up is a phrasal verb that means to use a knife to make smaller pieces. You can cut up anything. You could cut up a chicken, you could cut up a piece of bread, you can cut up an apple to give to your child. So, Sandro, could you use cut up a chicken in a sentence, please? Or, sorry, just cut up?
Usually I cut up the chicken when before to put into the oven in my recipe.
Good. And remember, the word in English, this is a false friend. The word is not receipt. It's, anyone know?
Recipe.
Okay, it's pronounced recipe.
Recipe. Okay.
Recipe. When you say receipt, it sounds like this other word, receipt, which is what you get after you've paid for your meal. I was cooking, so I wanted to cut the chicken up, but I cut my finger. Oh, that's a good example, Mauri. I hope that didn't really happen.
I'm joking.
Good, good. Okay, how about letter J? Let's hear from someone we haven't heard from yet. Perhaps Cosimo, you can read letter J. You have to turn on your microphone, but you can click on that button.
Dice the celery.
Okay, and this is actually pronounced celery.
Celery.
Dice the celery.
Dice the celery.
Good. Okay, do you like celery?
I don't like celery.
I don't like celery either. So can you try to use dice in a sentence? You could use dice to mean anything. It doesn't have to be celery.
I dice in the soup.
So you could dice an onion. Most of recipes will say dice the onion and saute it in oil.
Okay.
Good. How about letter K? Let's see. We haven't heard from, let's see. Let's hear from Ahmad again.
The carrots?
You can peel the carrots, okay? And to peel the carrots is to use this special thing we call a peeler. Isn't that obvious? Or a vegetable peeler to make long strips of carrot. And you can also, I usually use a peeler to peel a potato and take the skin off the potato. So I eat a lot of potatoes. Okay, Ahmad, can you try to use peel in a sentence and you don't have to say carrots?
I'm peeling my tomato.
Okay. I'm peeling my tomato. You could do that if you were making a sauce, perhaps.
Yes.
Good. And let's hear again from Elcio. Can you read letter L?
Chop the onions.
Okay. Chop the onions. Chop the onions. I like the word chop because I think it sounds exactly the same as the action. When you're using a knife, it sounds like chop, 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 chop.
Cut, 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 cut.
Yeah. Chop, 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 chop. Chop the onions. You can chop many things in the kitchen. And chefs are very well trained at chopping. So can you try to use chop in a sentence?
I like to chop the onions, but I don't know. I don't like the smell.
Oh, Very good. I like to chop the onions, but I don't like the smell. I don't like the smell because it makes me cry.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Thank you, Elcio. How about we hear again from Francisco? Could you read letter M?
Boil the chicken.
Okay. Boil is when you heat up the water and the bubbles start appearing on the surface. And whenever you drop something in boiling water, it will cook very quickly. So to boil the chicken, what can you think of a sentence that uses the verb to boil?
I boil potatoes with eggs and tuna.
Oh, that sounds like a very Spanish dish of the ensalada rusa, right?
Yes.
I usually boil water in my tea kettle to make a cup of tea. Very good. And how about letter N? Let's hear from Amauri. Amauri, you want to read letter N? Okay. Okay, bye, Francisco. Thanks for coming to my class.
Bye. Bye.
See you soon. Okay, let's go over to Mahmoud. Can you please read?
Sorry, teacher.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, that was very loud. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
What's the letter?
N. N, please.
N. Added the vegetables.
Okay. We're going to all practice some pronunciation right now because this word is very often mispronounced. It's not vegetables, it's just vegetables.
The vegetables.
Do not pronounce the second E in the word. Imagine instead of being spelled like that, it's spelled like this.
Okay.
Vegetables, vegetables. Okay, so can everyone repeat after me? Vegetables? Vegetables. I'm still hearing some people pronounce that second E. It's not vegetables, it's just vegetables.
Vegetables.
Good. Aslo, you're doing a great job. Vegetables. Okay? So work on that because that's a really commonly mispronounced word. And it looks like we have a new student with us. Hi, Alejandra. Oh, she left. Guess she didn't want to.
Hi, Alejandra.
I scared her away. Okay, I'm going to read letter O. Stir. Can everyone repeat after me? Stir.
Stir.
This is one of those times when that tricky letter I in English is making sort of an sound. Stir.
Stir.
It's not steer. It's stir.
Stir.
I know it feels strange, doesn't it, to make that sound, stir.
Stir.
That's something you'll see a lot in English. These are called R-controlled vowels, and this is a good thing to study. If you want to study something on your own time, and especially if you're interested in pronunciation, you should Google R-controlled vowels and hear examples of them. Stir is a perfect example. Another common example that is mispronounced is this word, bird.
Bird.
That's an R-controlled vowel, and it sounds the exact same as stir.
Stir.
And how about letter P? Who wants to read letter P? This is one of my favorite verbs.
Simmer.
Okay, simmer. That's right. Simmer is a lot like boil, but it's not as powerful. So when you begin to cook some water, to boil some water, when just little tiny bubbles are coming up, that's when it is simmering. So a good example is to simmer a soup for several hours, for many hours. So
The rice.
Sorry, or simmer rice. You can do that too. You can simmer lots of things. You can simmer vegetables. You can simmer a
Eggs.
broth. No, you can't simmer eggs. You can put them in simmering water, but there are lots of other verbs for eggs, such as poach, fry, and boil. You can boil eggs, but we don't say simmer. But good question. All right, and we'll move on to our last recipe for quick and easy cake. Can we maybe have our new student, Alejandra, could you read letter Q?
Break 2 eggs in.
I think you're breaking up a little bit. Can you repeat?
Yeah, break. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Break
Yes.
2 eggs into a microwave-safe bowl.
Okay. The word is microwave. Okay. So that I microwave.
Microwave.
Okay. So a microwave-safe bowl, thank you, Alejandra. A microwave-safe bowl is one that can go in the microwave, which you see at letter T. So break 2 eggs into a microwave-safe bowl. When you open an egg, we say that's breaking an egg, to break an egg. And we can also say that about our bones. If you are in an accident and your bone splits into half, that's breaking a bone. Like if you said, I don't want to break my leg, or I broke my leg. All right, how about letter R? Let's hear from Adela. Could you please read letter R?
Mix the ingredients.
Okay, and this word, I'm going to have everyone repeat after me, ingredients.
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 Okay, good. So that E is a long E sound, ingredients. And that's all the different parts of the recipe. Everything that goes into the recipe are the recipe's ingredients. So 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of milk, 2 eggs, a half cup of sugar. Those are all the ingredients. And you put them in a bowl and you mix them together. Okay, and then letter S. Let's hear from, let's see, Mahmoud, can you read letter S, please?
Beat the mixture.
Okay, with this special tool, which is called an egg beater, you can beat the mixture. So it churns it up. It churns the mixture, moving it around really quickly and mixing it all together. And you sometimes need to use the machine to do that because it's much more powerful than just our hands. If we just did it with our hands, it would be called stirring. And our last one, I'll read that one. Letter T is microwave for 5 minutes. So can I get someone to use an example of microwave as a verb?
Yes, I can try. I have to microwave my meal because it's very cold.
Very good. I have to microwave my meal because it's very cold. Okay, so now I have a challenge for everyone. In order to use these verbs, I would like you to take the next 5 minutes and try to come up with a short recipe. Okay, you can do something very simple like what you eat for breakfast and write down the verbs, and then you're going to share it with the class in the last few minutes, okay? So 5 minutes is write a short recipe and use these verbs, okay? Ready, set, go. Oh, Amauri has to go. Bye, Amauri. Thank you for coming to my class.
Thank you. I see you in the next class.
Okay, see you then. That's a good idea, Elcio. Here's the picture. Tell me if you can see that. I don't know if that will work for you. Does it work? Here, I'm going to scroll up in the picture. So here's the other ones. Okay, Sandro, don't share it just yet. We're going to share in 3 minutes. That's okay. I can tell you're very eager to share. We'll start with yours. Elcio, I didn't think it would work. Okay, take 1 more minute and then we're going to share together, and don't share your recipe just yet.
I've shared already.
That's okay. We'll use them and we'll put them in order. Okay, let's share our recipes now. If you're not finished, that's okay. It's just a chance for you to practice using some of these verbs. Okay, so let's start with Sandro. Can you share your recipe and read it out loud for us?
Yes, it's, I mean normal pasta, but you have to prepare before some garlic in the oil, just to give the taste to the oil, and after you get out the garlic.
Oh, that's very good. You know, there's a verb for that. It's to infuse. You infuse the oil with garlic.
Yeah, And after when the pasta is ready, it's usually we use spaghetti. We mix the oil and you put over the pasta pepper and botarga. Botarga is eggs of the fish dry.
Oh.
You can grate on the pasta. You mix all together and it's ready.
Okay, yeah. So you spoon pepper.
Yes.
Okay. Please don't turn on your cameras. I don't want to take any pictures. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Sandro. And next we'll go with Adela. Can you read your recipe, please?
Sorry. This is a fish mousse or fish pudding. And this is a fish, a kilo of fish. You can use salmon, but if you don't have salmon, it's hake or cod, and you add tomato to have the color about pink, etc. You mix with eggs, and you can add great bread. Is possible.
Okay, grated bread.
Yeah. And you put in the microwave about 10 minutes after the before you put with the mixer you have a mousse and you cook a microwave 10 minutes. After that is a good dish, and you put in the refrigerator, and you cover with the mayonnaise, and you can add the fumé salmon and the prawns and cucumber is salad.
Oh, okay. So you serve it cold. That's a good phrase to know. Serve cold. If you want to say fumé salmon, we call it smoked salmon.
Ah, sorry. Yes.
That's okay. Yeah, smoked salmon. That way everyone will know that you mean that delicious smoked salmon. I love it. That sounds really good. Thank you, Adela. How about serve cold to friends. And Mahmoud, can you share yours?
Actually, I never could cook, but I can cook.
You want to read what you wrote in the chat?
Egg. I can cook egg. Put oil in pan and break egg and cook slowly.
Sounds good to me. I eat 2 eggs every day, so that is exactly what I do. Okay, thank you, Mahmoud. Let's hear from Laszlo next.
One of my favorite food. Peel the asparagus and boil for 8 minutes. Slice some ham and cheese with some garlic. Mix the 4 ingredients and then put to the skillet and heat for 15 minutes. And it's ready, and have some wine with it.
Oh, delicious. That sounds very good. And so you put it in the skillet. You can say put in the skillet, but it's very good. I'll have to try that one. Okay, and next we'll hear from Alejandra. Could you read about Spanish omelet, one of my favorite foods?
Well, to make a Spanish omelette, you have to first chop the potatoes and then fry the potatoes. And then break the eggs and mix it with the potatoes. And then add this mixture to a pan with hot extra virgin oil and wait until the eggs get cooked.
Gets
And
cooked.
then cooked.
Good.
With ED.
Exactly.
Okay, cooked. Then you have to help you with a plate and put it on the pan and turn to the other side the omelette, so the other side can get cooked also.
Yes.
And when it gets cooked, then you can eat it.
Yeah, I make this for my family because I lived in Spain, so I love to eat tortilla. There's actually a verb that means to turn to the other side, and it's to flip. So you flip the omelet. Okay, and then thank you, Alejandra. And then Elcio, you can share yours, and then we'll be done for today.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay. Okay, so do you want to read it for us?
How to make fish burgers. 1. Kill the fish and then cut small slices. Season a lot.
Okay, just season a lot.
Season a lot. Bake into 40 minutes.
Okay. You could say bake for 40 minutes.
Bake for.
And you say to put some asparagus with tomatoes and olive oil and put it inside the bun. Man, that sounds so good. I'm so hungry. Okay, that's great, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to my class, and I hope to see you all. I'll have a class later today. I'm going to be doing an experimental quick write. We're going to all be working together to write a story, so that's in 1 hour if you want to come to that. And otherwise, I will see you next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye, everyone.
See you. Bye.
See you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.